Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people in the community. And today, with the basketball season about ready to get underway, we have the head coach of the Spartan varsity team, Tim Talbaka, and Tim brought a couple players along, Eric Heinonen from the football team and soccer team, and Adam Leitner, all-star tennis player, and of course basketball player. Golf too, I believe. Yes. Let's start with Tim. So first of all, thanks for coming in on your day off. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Give us a little preview of your coaching staff first, starting from the middle school level.
Steve Wahanick is the 8th grade coach. He's been there for quite a few years. He's my right-hand man in terms of basketball. He's been that way. He's been here ever since I began. We were friends long before we ever started coaching together, so I really appreciate him. Bud Vitari, who graduated in 2013, is a 7th grade coach. He's been a part of our program for quite a long time, and this year he was able to be an actual paid coach for the first time. My varsity assistant is Ted Johnson. Ted's had been the JV coach for quite a long time. We changed roles with him and Marcus Paradise, who is a teacher at the Lakeshore building. He's now the JV coach, and Ted's now the varsity assistant. So I think it's going to be a better dynamic for our staff. I know they're both real happy about it, and so am I.
Now the JV coach, a Northwestern Wildcat.
Yes, yeah, he's a Northwestern graduate. He graduated in 2000. I remember when I first got to Conneaut, we had played against him a few times. Got hired, I think, 3 years ago as a phys ed teacher at the elementary building. Great young guy to have around our district. We're hoping we can keep him around for a long time, but he does a great job in the basketball and in the baseball programs.
Before we get into basketball, I should have started with football. Of course, you coached you were part of the coaching staff of Rocco Dobrin, a 4th year in a row where the team has had a winning record, and first year in a new conference that they were able to co-share it with another team, Titusville. The part of the team that you coached, how were you satisfied with what you did?
I think so. You always look back on any season and there's always something you could have done better as a coach. You're always striving to do better. I think that's something that any coach would say. But for the most part, I thought we did pretty well. I coached a special team, so my right-hand man, Eric, here was the first team all-district kicker for our district in Pennsylvania. And it was a real luxury for us as a team. And I know Coach Jocelyn makes fun of our special teams quite regularly, but they gave him great field position all year. So if he's out there watching this.
First team offense countywide too, right?
Yes.
Yes, county, along with the District 10.
Yes, and what was it? Second team all district here in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah. Of course, Eric Heinonen also on the soccer team. Eric, how did you manage playing 2 sports?
Well, soccer was my primary sport, and Coach Rock and all the coaches were really flexible with my schedule, and I just come in after soccer practice and kick a few balls and take off, I guess. And then on my soccer game days, I just had the day off, rest my leg.
And your soccer coach was Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Now, how would you compare Mr. Cleveland with Mr. Talbaka in terms of how they run practices and so forth?
I don't know. Coach Cleveland, he's pretty stern. He always got on us, and not that Coach Talbaka doesn't, but I don't know. They're actually quite similar. I mean, you got your practice structure, and we go through everything, and then when we're done, it's usually a good practice.
Jump over to Adam for a minute. Adam, I wanted to have you on the show when you got that tennis award back then, and somehow it never worked out. Describe the feeling about your tennis team. Describe that feeling of getting that award.
I mean, we've played together last year, not so much, but the first 2 years I played with those guys for quite a while, and it was real nice. I mean, we had the county tournament at St. John's by Mr. Nassif, and it was just really nice to have all the players from around here actually come together instead of having to play people that you don't know. So, I mean, it was an honor to get it.
And you played all 4 years tennis,
Yeah.
and now your brother's playing. And how does he like it? Obviously, he must like it a lot.
He likes it. He's a sophomore coming up, and he'll play for us, and hopefully he can put up some decent numbers.
Very good. Okay, Tim, let's talk a little bit about basketball now. I know you just recently had the preview over in Geneva this past weekend, and then you had some scrimmages prior to that. I believe you even scrimmaged Geneva themselves, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit how you felt the scrimmages went and the preview.
It was up and down for sure. Scrimmage is always like that. There's a reason why we have scrimmages in basketball, because you're not ready to play a game yet. We opened with a team out of Cleveland called Martin Luther King Junior High School. Their head coach is a buddy of mine going way back to my Hiram days. And they were pretty good. He told me beforehand he thinks they're going to challenge East Tech for the Cleveland City title this year. I was like, whoa, man. But it was good for us to see them. At that point in time, we'd just been going against our younger guys in practice every day, and to have to guard guys of that caliber was good for us. We played very well against Grand River and also Lordstown, our next 2 scrimmages. Had a tough time in Geneva last Wednesday night. I'm not sure what the cause was. Geneva was pretty physical. I think that bothered us some. Came back then, the preview was Friday night, and I was overall satisfied. In the preview, you can get really wrapped up in whether you win or lose, and I don't really get that wrapped up. I wanted to see us play good defense and just take good shots. I thought for the most part we did that. We had a shot in the air to beat Geneva, and it just didn't fall. And we had a couple last shots at it against Grand Valley, and they're just one quarter. So, but I was overall happy with the way we performed out there. I thought we did some good things on the floor, and just something to build on, certainly.
When you're getting ready to start the season, such as you are Thursday night here at Edgewood, is the offense or the defense, are one of those ahead of the other?
A lot of coaches say defense is ahead of the offense. I think that's more a function of guys not being used to playing with each other. I'm happy with our summer program for the most part. It's hard to get everybody there because these guys all play different sports. Like you said, these guys both play 4 sports if you include the spring stuff. And it's hard to, our guys come when they can. And I put some pressure on them, but obviously some off-season ball is not mandatory. And a lot of times just getting together to play for the first time, the offense is a little bit more, is a little behind the defense. And I think it happens too, like especially with these guys both play fall sports. So some schools have a full fall program where they have all their guys in there for September on. We just can't do that because they both play 2 sports in the fall. So we're just a lot of it's timing too in basketball. So that does tend to happen.
Talk a little bit about your roster. Now I know Eric is a 3-point shooter from the corners, and sometimes it drives inside pretty good. Adam, you're more of a defensive type player, very feisty and very aggressive out on the court. If I did describe that right, let me know, Tim. And talk about the rest of your roster.
Yeah, Adam's a 5'10" power forward. He's last year was one of our best rebounders. We had a relatively small lineup last year, and he played down low and did very well. He jumps a lot higher than people think he does. For a tennis guy, I don't think you jump much in tennis, do you, Adam?
Oh, we jump plenty.
You jump plenty? Okay, I got to watch more Davis Cup matches, I guess. But yeah, so he's athletic down there. He does a nice job for us working the baseline area a lot. Eric is a leading returning scorer. Looking for him to shoot the 3, drive to the basket, and just be our ball handler this year. Him and Alex Rivera are kind of sharing the ball handling duties. I haven't really said either one's a point guard. They just kind of handle it themselves. It kind of works out well because if a team has one better defender, they can put him on either guy, and I can have the other guy basically handle the ball for that time period.
Okay, now he's new to your roster.
He played his freshman and sophomore year, didn't play last year, and we're really happy to have Alex back. He's a hard-nosed kid. I think we're going to be a lot better defensively this year than last year because both of these guys are good defensive players. Alex is a very good defensive player. I think we'll be able to put some more pressure on guards, I think, than we had the last couple of years. So those are 3 of our seniors. We also have Austin Dale, who is one of the guys who's improved drastically from last year. He played quite a bit at the end of our season last year. He's going to be asked a lot of him inside as a 6'4" player. TJ Bertolacci was a returning senior who played some varsity last year also as a forward type player. And then new to the team is Alex Sturgill. He's obviously was a very good football player for us this year as well. Gives us a physical presence off the bench as his first year as a Conneaut basketball player.
Speaking of Alex Sturgill, I had Rocco in here last week, and at the banquet, I didn't realize, I always looked at him as an offensive player, but he has some mean defensive numbers, tackles especially, in his 4-year high school career.
Yeah, he did, absolutely.
Good to have him on the basketball team.
Yeah. Then we have our junior class is also very strong. We've been looking forward to having these guys play varsity for quite a long time. I've known both the junior and senior class since they were coming to my little kids camp way back when. But Spencer Schwartfigure, Jacob Schreiber, Nathan Squera, and Nathan Lauer are all contributors. Nathan Lauer is probably going to start for us in the paint, and those other guys are all going to play quite a bit too. I think Spencer has come a long way. He's improved his game, as has Nathan Squera. They all have. Schreiber was a great 3-point shooter as a JV last year. So that's going to be the bulk of our roster is those 10 guys.
Nathan Lauer, tough defensive player.
Yeah, he's a guy who's again 6'6", plays inside. Basically, if we were to, I don't really believe in putting positions on guys, but he'd be our center if we were to line it up like that. And but he's a physically strong kid, and he's another one who plays a lot of ball in the off season. And for a guy who's 6'1" operating inside, he just seems to have a knack for finishing over bigger players, and he's gonna have a good season for us.
You mentioned also. Can't think of his first name right now. Schreiber,
Jacob
Schreiber
Schreiber,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, he was shooting a ton of threes late in the season last year.
Yeah,
and making them.
Yeah, he made a whole bunch. He was just a regular type of a player, and all of a sudden, I think we played Vienna Matthews last year. It was our second or third game of the year, and as a JV, he scored like 35 points in a JV game, which is hard to do for the entire JV team, let alone one guy. And I've kind of caught some people's attention, and he made, I think, 40-some three-pointers last year, which is a nice number for a JV player. He's still getting used to the speed of the varsity game. The thing about these two I'm with here, and also Austin Dale, they've played a lot of varsity basketball. They know, they have some experience. Him, and again, and Nathan Squera and Spencer haven't had a whole lot of experience at the varsity level yet, which will come. And again, that's also why you have scrimmages.
Adam Leighton, one of the players. Adam, walk me through a typical Tim Talbot practice before the season starts.
Before the season starts, I mean, we always do our normal stretching, and actually we start off with a little running. I think we do 15 laps around the gym. There's usually a layup drill before practice. We're in the weight room a lot, or before the season starts, and eventually we'll come to the open gym aspect, and it'll be a little bit of live play to kind of get used to each other. But,
Now, being one of the seniors on the team, it's hard to believe you're a senior. Remember when you were in 8th grade. Being one of the seniors, what kind of an example would you like to set for the underclassmen?
we just got to work hard every day on and off the court, in the weight room, whatever it is we're doing. We need to put 100% in.
Eric, what are you looking forward to this year? What goal are you looking to accomplish? Personal goal.
I think this year will be a lot more successful than we were last year, only because we have 10 varsity level guys that can step in and give us a break, which we lacked of that last year. We just had a strict number, and we were on the court 24/7 hustling our tails off, and now we can just get a sub whenever, and it'll be easier to win games.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. I know you're going to agree with it. Like when you had Justin out there in the fourth quarter, you know how hard he played. You could see in the middle of the fourth quarter that he was wearing down because of what Eric was saying.
That's just it's a matter of, as a coach, I got to have confidence in putting guys on the floor. And after we got past our first 5, and again, Austin came off the bench for us last year, guys weren't ready to play varsity basketball. Mm-hmm. And we tried early in the season doing some more subbing, and it didn't work for us. So. Mm-hmm. I think back to that game at Chardon. We played a great game at Chardon last year, which is a bigger school than us, and we had them beat. They scored 9 points in like about a 30-second span, and wound up going to overtime. And it was like a video game where our little line was on red. We just had nothing left, and I kind of felt, man, if we get a sub sometime earlier in that game, we'd have had some energy to win that game in overtime. But there was a number of games that were similar to that. I think we had 3 or 4 games where we just had very low scoring totals in the fourth quarter. And again, it's true, and Eric's exactly right. At this point in time, I have confidence in 9 or 10 guys playing on the varsity court. It's going to make it much better for them.
Oh, certainly.
I see us, in terms of our rotation, being a totally different team. If you watch the preview, we were shuffling guys in and out of there constantly. And I think it helps keep kids engaged, mm-hmm. As far as feeling that they're part of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important aspect of basketball we just didn't seem to have last year.
Mm-hmm. Talking about depth being one of your strengths, what other strengths do you see coming into the season?
I like our defensive play by our guards especially. I think being able to disrupt some teams more so than we have the last couple of years is going to be a good thing for us. Again, we're going to be asking Adam and Alex Rivera to do a lot of that out front, playing other teams' ball handlers. Our depth's going to be, I think, a strength. I've liked to this point in time, we've added some different elements offensively. I don't want to go into details because nobody would probably be interested in that, but we've changed some things up, and we're really looking at 2 very different paces. We look to run a fast break after a steal or a defensive rebound. We also want to run some offense and be a little bit patient with some of what we're looking at doing. And for this one in the season, we've done a pretty good job of that. I've been happy with our pace to this point in time, mm-hmm. our understanding of what we're trying to accomplish offensively. So mm-hmm. we got to box out and rebound the ball. We've been hammering these guys with that. I know Coach Ted Johnson is a very vocal basketball coach.
Feisty.
Feisty.
Even more than you.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. And that's something we got to stand on because we haven't had height here for years, and we a little more length this year as far as having some guys with long arms. Mm-hmm. But we do need to make sure that we're keeping teams off the boards because that could be an issue for us.
One of the things that impresses me about you, Tim, and I mentioned this to you last year before the season started, because you are a feisty guy. I mean, you're high strung, and that's good. But you said to me something very interesting, that you know how far you can go with the officials.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Is it because of familiarity with the officials?
That's part of it, and it's one of those things where you got to make your point and you got to back off. Then I tell the kids all the time that I'll fight for them when I think I need to fight for them. I'm not a guy who's going to complain about every single call. There are coaches out there who will complain about every single call that's out there. I think if I kind of pick my spots as far as when to complain about something, when to make a point, I think it's more effective. I think a lot of times they'll listen to you more if you're not. If I'm whining about every single call that takes place out there, they're not going to listen to me. If I think there's a misinterpretation of the rules, if I think really something's being done unfairly, if they're not being consistent, Coach Johnson and I talk a lot about the officials, and it's just consistency. If you're going to call it tight, call it tight. If you're going to let things go, let things go. And in Pennsylvania, our new conference, that we're in basketball, they let things go. There's not much traveling called. There's not many fouls called.
Is that a good thing?
Well, hopefully we'll see. We need to figure it out. The scores are a lot lower because of that, because of the lack of fouls that are called. And I mean, by and large, we've always played 3 or 4 games in Pennsylvania each year. It's a different ball game. And I think we're developing a physical mentality, which we're going to have over there. Actually, I kind of liked our defensive approach for practice today. I thought we were very physical off the ball, which we need to be to survive over there. But again, it's something where nobody would ever admit this, and I hope Phil Garcia isn't watching, but officials do make, there is such thing as a makeup call out there, and whether it's subconscious or not, I really think, boy oh boy, if I haven't said a word to you in 2.5 quarters and I say something to you and get mad, you're gonna think maybe this guy is right about this, and it happens, believe me. Sorry, Phil.
Lower scores you're talking about. Would that benefit your team?
I don't necessarily know. I'm not a big guy in terms of point totals, in terms, as far as that goes, because a lot of that has to do with pace. Again, if we're going to run a lot of offense, like I look at our schedule here, Girard High School is probably the best team in our conference going in. They run a lot of slow offensive stuff. They have great shooters, and so you're not going to get as many shots off against a team like that. So, if you were to say, I want to score 60 points a game, those games, this is not simply going to happen because of the other team's pace. It could help keep us in games. We'll have to see. I don't know. I know about half the teams over there pretty well. We've played a few of them in the past, but there's some teams I have no idea what they do. We'll be scouting them the next couple of weeks. Their season opens the weekend of December 9th, so we'll get a better feel.
A week later than
yes.
you open up.
Yes.
So what you're describing to me about their pace of play kind of sounds like the old days with Bill Cole, his Geneva Eagles.
Yeah, I remember those days. I played against them and coached against those guys. Yes, I'm sure it's similar to that. Again, that's just one school over there. I'm not sure how I kind of have a feel for how Northwestern and how Fairview play. I know how Mercyhurst plays. We saw them this summer. But there's some other schools. We'll see. Just generally speaking, though, if the officials allow more physical play, there's just not going to be as many points scored.
Mm-hmm. Eric, of course, you were on the soccer team, so you know what it's like playing in a conference for that sport. But now being in a conference for basketball, how does that feel for you to be able to play for a conference top spot?
It's exciting to actually be able to play for something. I mean, in the past, all we had was the tournament or the Ohio playoffs, and we were always put up against a tough team, and there was really nowhere we could go with that. But now we can compete all year long and hopefully win a title.
Mm-hmm. And then when you go up against some of the county schools, what will that feel like for you?
That's another level too. There's a lot of hype going on for this December 1st game with Edgewood.
That's been like that since the 60s.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, that's probably it's going to be exciting, that being our home, or not home opener, but our first game of the year.
It's going to be our first broadcast of the year as well, so we're looking forward to that one.
It'll be fun to play. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere is going to be insane.
At Edgewood.
Yep, It's going to be packed.
Mm-hmm. And they don't make a return visit. Just a one-time.
No, we've only paid them one time the last 3 or 4 years.
Is that right?
Part of that was because of them being in conference, the All-American conference that they're in. I don't know how many league games they play. I know they required them to play some crossover games also. So it was probably 3 or 4 years ago we decided we're just going to play one game a year. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. Eric's exactly right. There's a lot of hype. I don't know if you guys had Twitter back in the 60s, but apparently that kind of stuff is blowing up pretty good. So I like that. I mean, as long as it's not crossing the line, I kind of like that stuff. I think it'll be, like Eric said, a great atmosphere there for an opening game.
Looking at your schedule, of course, that Edgewood game's a Thursday night game, but I know in the past you said, I think maybe it was last year or the year before, where you only had one Friday night home game. Yeah. Now being in this conference, you get more of the traditional Tuesday, Friday games.
Exactly, that's a big thing. Because Friday night is when high school basketball is at. I've known that since we played. Exactly. And like I said, last year, not having a league, everybody else had league games on Friday nights. We were playing games Saturday at noon. We were playing games you know, we had to spend a night out in Menor last year overnight because we had to play a game in Madison and then play in downtown Cleveland the next day. This will be a much more consistent schedule, and I think it'll benefit us, again, being able to have a home crowd on Friday nights more than just once a year.
Mm-hmm. Adam, what about you? The question I was asking Eric, of course, you also already having played golf, being in the District 10 conference, what does that mean to you?
Well, of course, you play for yourself, you play for your team, but I mean, you'll have actually something to compete for the whole time. That's more than that. And it's nice playing local teams, but getting out and it's just new exposure to all kinds of different things.
What do you like about playing the county teams? Is it you know a lot of these kids from the other areas?
You know a lot of the people and the schools. You get a little more rivalry crowd-wise, and it's just a lot of fun to actually be out there.
Is there a certain team out there that you play that you feel like you want to beat more than the other, or is that just the way you go into every game?
You always want to win every game, but yeah, like they said, I really look forward to the Edgewood game, December 1st, to start out with.
Playing basketball now, you're inside of the building, of course, and you can hear the crowd. In a tight, close game, you're going to the free throw line, let's say, and that crowd is making all this noise. Do you try to block that out? Can you hear it? Describe that feeling for me.
To be honest, I like the noise.
You do? Okay.
I like when the crowd gets into the stuff. I just think it makes for a more exciting game.
Mm-hmm. Back when you played, Tim, I remember the gym was silent when somebody went to the free throw line, but that's not the case anymore. Teams are making a lot of noise.
Yeah,
in cheering sections.
I don't know. It depends. It seemed like, I know the schools were all bigger back in those days. Back when I graduated in '87, Conneaut was graduating 200 and some kids. We're down to graduating 110 kids now. I don't know if that was part of it, but the gyms were packed back in those days all the time. Mm-hmm. And part of it was we had a lot of success at Harbor, and basketball was pretty big down there. But I remember being kind of loud. I remember having to make some clutch free throws at Geneva when I was a junior, in my first couple of games of varsity. I remember how it was loud. Mm-hmm. But I know what you're saying. I think back in your day, though, you played more Friday, Saturday games too, which helps attendance. Yeah, we were pretty much Tuesday, Friday. There was a few Saturday games. Yeah, I think you're right about that. But yeah, it's one of those things where, I think both Eric and Adam here are very cool customers. I don't think that sort of thing's going to rattle them. I think it can rattle kids. I've seen it happen many times, obviously, in my coaching career.
Mm-hmm. I don't notice any. I see maybe one or two back-to-back games this year where I remember last year due to makeups or whatever, you were playing sometimes 3-4 nights a week.
Yeah, it happened last year. It happened, would have been 3 years ago when Ryan Open was a senior. We had to play 10 games in 21 days to end our season, just get everything in. We do have towards the end, just because we're trying to get Pennsylvania's stops a week and a half before we do. Just run their playoffs.
Do they play a 22-game schedule?
Yeah, they do, but they squeeze it in a lot. It's a lot more consolidated because they're a week later than us, and they're a week and a half earlier than us when they finish. So we wound up having to schedule, I think, Badger and Grand Valley back to back, and we also had to sneak a PV game. We scheduled PV twice this year. That was before we knew we were going to be in a conference. This thing just kind of caught us by surprise over last Christmas break that we were going to all of a sudden be in a conference. I already scheduled a few games, so I kind of felt bad about leaving a couple of the county schools out that we played Geneva every year since forever. And I already scheduled 5 non-conference games, and we have a 16-game league schedule, so there was no leeway at all there. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, because of the league schedule, there's not anywhere near as many back-to-backs, which is nice.
Eric, of course, playing soccer, using your legs quite a bit. Back-to-back nights playing basketball, how's that on your legs? Do you feel it the second night? Or does it depend whether you lost or won the night before?
At the beginning of the soccer season, I could definitely feel it when my legs were still, I guess you could say, progressing. And I think ever since soccer and football, they just maintained that running and that strength that they have, and I don't think it'll be a problem. I wasn't ever really too tired after a back-to-back in soccer, a game on Tuesday and Thursday, and then a football game on Friday. It wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm. Just skipping the subject for a minute, just coming to me as you were answering that question, when you were kicking a field goal, and you got to go out there and your team needs that field goal, is there a certain distance where you feel comfortable at?
Well, I mean, the shorter the better, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I really didn't get too many opportunities to kick that far this year. I think my longest was like 37.
30. I thought there was one way into the 30s there.
Yeah. I mean, I could have went back further. I had a chance to make a 57-yarder, and I had
Oh my goodness.
I have 15-mile-an-hour wind coming right at me, and it was just shy.
Wow. Where was this at?
That was at was it
Corey High School, yeah.
Wow. Was that the? Did it rain that night?
No, it was windy though.
Yeah, it was super
like,
windy.
yeah, it was a heck of a kick. It was into the wind, 57 yards, and just missed
Wow.
by a couple yards.
57
Pretty
yards.
impressive.
What
It
did
was-
you think when Coach told you to go out there and give it a shot?
Um,
Did you say you got to be kidding me?
No, he
Well,
doesn't practice all the time.
yeah,
That's not a big deal.
yeah, it was just the wind was a fact. I knew the wind was going to be a struggle.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if I would have had wind to my back, that thing would have been good for another 10 yards probably, because I put everything I had into it, and it still just came up shy. There was a lot of wind.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
And part of it in high school football, if he misses long field goal, the ball goes to the 20. As long as the ball makes the end zone.
That helps.
Whereas
Yeah,
you watched
it
last
doesn't stay
night's
right
game,
there.
the Broncos and the Chiefs, they tried a 64-yarder and he missed it. And the Chiefs were 20 yards away from their field goal kick, and they wound up losing the game because of that.
I heard there was some controversy in there.
Yeah, that was before the overtime, but yeah, but yeah. So we weren't afraid to try long field goal just because it's. I mean, if the punt goes in the end zone, getting the ball in the 20 anyways, you might as well try it for 3 points.
Tim, let's look a little bit more at your schedule now. You already said that Girard probably be the toughest team you play over there in District 10.
I think I shouldn't say that on TV. I don't know. I haven't seen Fairview play for a couple years. I know they have a 6'8" kid. I know they have Penn State Barron's head coach is a friend of mine. His son plays for Fairview. I know Titusville has one of the better players returning. Don't know much about him. I just was reading through some different online and newspaper articles from last year. It's tough to say. I know Northwestern was co-champs last year, but they graduated a lot of their team. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like I said, we're going to really get into this. We're going to do a whole bunch of scouting next weekend to start looking at some of these teams. We've got some tape coming in on some teams, so we'll see. But I know it will be a good challenge for us this Thursday. I know PV has a nice returning team from last year. I think this is a good year for the county in basketball, and it's a nice balance of playing some of the county teams as well as some of the teams in our district.
Mm-hmm. And the Tigers are usually pretty good too over there in District 10, aren't they? Fairview Tigers?
Yeah, Fairview, yeah, they're normally very good there. The coach who was there a while ago, his name is Keith Nees, he's a friend of mine. The new coach, the last 2 years, was a former coach at Mercier's Prep and also an assistant at Penn State Barron, so and he does a real good job over there. This Erie First Christian Academy, they have over 100 international students, and they always want to find a few basketball players in that mix. So, and Mercier's Prep has a nice program, so it'll be a challenge for us. There'll be a lot of good games.
Mm-hmm. And in the county, you got Edgewood, Pymatuning, and see Grand Valley at the end of the schedule there.
Yeah, St. John we have in there. We have Pymatuning Valley twice just because we're always looking for games and we're traveling everywhere. And last year, PV's AD asked me, "Do you want to play twice next year?" This is like in November. I said, "Yeah, we'll play you guys twice."
Yeah, that's an
great."
interesting rivalry, I think.
Yeah, and so I signed up for that. If I had known we were going to be in a league, I probably wouldn't have done that, just to save a spot for maybe a Geneva or a Lakeside or somebody. But once you sign a contract, I'm not going to go back on my word. So it just worked out that way this year.
What are you seeing in the county? Now, you've mentioned Edgewood going to be pretty good. What about the defending champion Jefferson Falcons? What are they looking like?
I couldn't tell. We didn't play them this year. We haven't scrimmaged them. I haven't talked to Coach French a whole lot. I know they have Sam Hitchcock back, who's a heck of a nice basketball
He's a
player.
player of the year, right?
Yeah. And they had some nice players off the JV team last year. I know they graduated 3 or 4 seniors also off that team. But yeah, I mean, they're solid. Lakeside has a lot of guys coming back off of last year's team. We saw them in the preview. Like I said, Edgewood's being hyped as being one of the better teams. We'll have a nice chance to take a look at them on Thursday. I think, like I said, this will be a good year for county basketball. PV, like I said, got most of their team back. So I think there'll be a lot of good teams in the county this year.
Adam, have you played coach for a while? I asked Tim this earlier in the interview. What did you see in the preview that you just played over the weekend in Geneva from your team and some of the teams you played against?
Well, obviously, a lot of the other teams have a size advantage on us, so it's a lot more. We gotta box out, and we gotta keep the other guys off the boards from getting second and third chances of easy layups. So
You see your team as a quick team,
yeah,
despite the lack of height,
small and fast.
small and fast, so that's good. They say speed kills, right?
Let's hope so.
Okay, Tim. Oh, good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Very nice preview here, and Eric, both of you guys are seniors, and there's one other senior, and that is who now?
There's actually 4 others.
Four.
There's
Sturgill's a senior.
Yeah, Alex Rivera's a senior. Sturgill's a senior. TJ Bertolassi was a senior. And then Austin Dale's a senior. So yes, we have 6 guys in the senior class this year. So that nice mix of seniors and juniors in the varsity roster.
Do you have your starting lineup for Friday, or you do not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, good luck Friday night and good luck with the season. I know we're going to do 17 of the 22 games.
Great, that's awesome.
And those 17 will be on the radio.
Great, that's
And then,
really
of
appreciate your
course,
coverage,
the
man. That's awesome.
TV people will be doing the games as well. And we're looking forward to covering your team.
We appreciate the coverage, you guys. It's great for us, great for the school to have that exposure to the community.
Eric, good luck.
Thank you.
Good job kicking.
Thanks.
Adam, good luck.
Thanks for
Good
having
job.
us.
And again, congratulations on your tennis award.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your brother will follow his brother's footsteps, right?
Let's hope so.
Okay. Adam Leighton, Eric Heinonen, and Coach Tim Talbaka, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck. Have a good day, everybody.